Hey everyone, we're going to take a look at the Marvel Legends Red Widow 6-inch action figure. As usual, please like, share, comment, subscribe, or even hit the super thanks button. I do appreciate all engagement on my channel. Here's a quick look at the box. We have the Marvel logo up top, down to the bottom, some product information, down to the side, artwork of the Red Widow brooding, and onto the back, we have the character description, other figures in the wave, and more product information. Down to the last side, it's the same artwork. So let's get this one open. On the plastic tray, we have the Zabu Build-A-Figure leg. The Red Widow figure comes with 2 alternate hands and 1 long weapon. Her double-bladed staff is reused from the Marvel Knights Daredevil action figure, given exactly the same treatment of red plastic with that silver paint for the blades. And just as I was handling this staff, the silver paint is already starting to flake off the blade. So Hasbro really needs to work on the quality of the paintwork. The figure holds onto the poorly painted staff just fine with her 2 gripping hands. She comes with a left fist and a right relaxed hands. Both of them have black paint for the Widow logo on the back of the hands. These are cast in red plastic and articulate inwards, as well as swinging outwards. Naturally, these hands pop onto the figure just fine, but it does bug me how Hasbro just wouldn't give her a complete set of relaxed hands and fists. I think she can also do with an alternate head with her hood removed. Before we look at the sculpt and paint on the figure, I just want to point out that a couple of straps on her are mispositioned from the factory. The straps around her waist and right thigh need to be slid around to the left. So now these straps crisscross correctly from her waist to her right thigh, just like how she's drawn in the artwork. Looking at her head sculpt, there's not much expression, but that's appropriate to the character's really quiet disposition. She's got an angular mask that's sculpted in red plastic, a clean and decent enough sculpt. The rest of the head on the inside is a black plastic with white paint for the eyes, and that's all covered by a red plastic hood. The hood also has decent sculpting with folds in the fabric and also a little bit of gathering on the back of the head. Now as for her cape, it is a hard plastic shell, which I really dislike. It's sculpted to look like it has 2 layers. It's really stiff and hinders the articulation of the figure. At the front it opens up, looking like a little bit like it's floating in the wind. And I guess this allows some movement of her right arm, but her left arm is really completely hindered by the whole hard cape. And even with the collar, it just gets in the way of the head articulation. I popped off the cape so that we can get a better look at the rest of the figure. Her entire upper body is the red plastic with black paint for the accents. The Widow logo is sharply printed on her abdomen. And I do like the addition of the straps to add a little bit more detail to this very basic blank female body. Now surprisingly, on her lower body it's mostly black plastic with red paint for her thighs and red plastic for her knee pads. The red paint on her thighs is not applied too well. You can see the lines are not very clean and comes across a bit sloppy. So overall, even though this figure is pretty basic to execute, it appears quite sloppy on her lower body. And besides the black panels on the upper body, there's really not much to talk about. Moving on to articulation, her head's on a ball hinge, so you do get some 360 spin. Not much in the way of sideways tilting. She can look down that much, and upward is really quite hindered by the back of that hood. And it doesn't make sense to have so much hood sculpted at the back, considering how it's going to be covered by the collar of her cape anyway. So with her collared cape on, this is as much as she looks up. Needless to say, her left arm has lost most of its use at the shoulder simply because it is hindered by the hard plastic cape, and you only really get some use out of her elbow. With her cape off, of course, she gets Marvel Legends standard swivel hinge at the shoulders, upper bicep swivel, double jointed elbows with the pins concealed, and swivel hinge at the wrist, going in as well as out. Just like a lot of Marvel Legends female bodies, she gets the ball-jointed torso that goes all the way around, and decent sideways tilting. Going backwards, a very decent range, but forward really quite limited, which is a bummer for an athletic character like Red Widow. Ball-jointed hips that do go out that far. Forward and backward, a decent range as well. Upper thigh swivel for 360. Double-jointed knees with the pins concealed as well for very good range. An ankle tilt that goes up and down with a pivot going out and in. With her plastic cape on, this is as well as I can get her to pose. It really boggles my mind how Hasbro would design and release a well-articulated figure, only to have it severely hindered by a stiff and rigid cape that doesn't look natural at all in any action stance. And considering how Jada Toys is already releasing wired posable capes with their Bison figure, they're showing the way how commercial mass market figures can actually be provided with posable fabric capes that would elevate the playability of the figure, instead of hindering it the way that Hasbro has done over here. I'm gonna do a quick mod for the figure and slice off about 2 to 3 millimeters of plastic from the back of the hood as I marked out over here in pencil. I sliced off this much plastic from the back of the hood, popping the head back onto the figure, and you definitely can't see that missing plastic from the front, and it's also still not obvious from the back. You won't even know it's gone because the color of the cape covers it completely, but you can see now that with the shorter hood on the back, it gives her much better upward looking range. And to illustrate my point, I'm just gonna use a generic red posable cape that I've used to customize Scarlet Witch. And you can see over here just putting on a basic posable fabric cape. This figure is improved by leaps and bounds. The cape is not even correct for her character's design, but her posability is enhanced. And the figure just feels so much better in hand. Red Widow stands at just over 6 inches, and that's about 15.5 centimeters. For size comparisons, she scales well with the Avengers. She looks great with her Winter Guard teammates, which to me is the only reason why you should be collecting this figure. I've included 2 versions of the Crimson Dynamo from Marvel Select as well as Marvel Legends. Personally, I prefer the Marvel Select one, but I'm keeping them both for the meantime. And for comparisons with other lines, here she is with G.I. Joe Classified Series and Star Wars Black Series. This is such a disappointing figure. The paintwork is sloppy, and it's not even the worst part. The hard plastic cape is such a hindrance to articulation and messes with the balance of the figure. The only reason to pick this one up is to grow the Winter Guard team, and if you're not interested in that, Red Widow is an easy pass. Please like and share this video, let me know what you think in the comments below, subscribe to my channel, or even hit that super thanks button. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay safe.